think. Oh, how about this? Please attend the Academia's Academic Symposium this afternoon and recite a love poem on stage.
Wait, say what now?
And if possible, please also use your camera to capture the reaction of the audience upon finishing the poem.
Huh? What kind of commission is that?
I see. It appears that you're not interested in this commission. In that case, please go to Port Ormos and convince the Eremites there to spend some time volunteering at the local orphanage.
Hey, that's not any better.
I'm sure the mercenaries will have some interesting reactions as well.
Paimon's gotta ask, just who exactly has been submitting these commissions to the Adventurers Guild?
Oh, the commissioner? Well, actually, I just wanted to see the two of you in action.
Was it so obvious? I was hoping you would actually take one of those commissions. That kind of chance to observe humans doesn't come by often.
Ah, so it's Nahida. Paimon just knew Catherine wouldn't crack those kinds of jokes. When did you get into her head?
From when she said, Ad Astra Abyssosk?
So it's been you this whole time? Are you done resting up, Nahida?
Yes. I've been sleeping ever since we parted ways, and I even had a really, really long dream. It was another dream about the Sub-Zerus Festival, except it was a happy one. In my dream, I was sitting in the middle of a flower terrace, and everyone in Sumeru City was holding hands as they danced in circles around me. They danced round and round, and everyone looked really happy. I also got to sit on a gigantic flower carriage. Ferris, the Knight of Flowers, raised me really, really high above the ground, and I was throwing an endless amount of Yalda candies at the children.
You know, Nahida, maybe your dream is how the Sub-Zerus Festival really should be. It's meant to be a joyous time where everyone gets together to celebrate your birthday.
Huh? Wasn't I describing a really happy dream? Why are you both looking at me like that? Wait, could this be an example of the emotion known as pity?
No, we aren't pitying you. That would only make everything worse. We just don't want you to feel too sad. By the way, have you had a chance to visit Dunyarzad? How's she doing? The Homianis haven't allowed any visitors after the festival, so we haven't been able to check on her.
Yes, I paid her a visit right after I woke up. She was resting at the time. Her condition is stabilized. However, since Elazar is a manifestation of the withering on the human body, we can only cure it by finding a way to take care of Irminsul's own withering. But for the moment, our top focus should still be figuring out what the sages are up to and what they're planning.
Right. Who knows what'll happen if they manage to pull off another scheme like the Samsara of the Sub-Zerus Festival?
So our first priority should be investigating and putting a stop to the sages' activities. As for how we should pull that off, let's discuss it somewhere else. There are too many adventurers around here.
Oh, good point. Sorry, adventurers. We're gonna be borrowing Catherine for a little while.
Let's continue our chat here.
Okay, so do you have any ideas on how we can investigate the sages, Nahida?
Actually, I've already done a little bit of work on that. But for now, I want to hear your thoughts. We're in the dark as of now. Since we still don't know anything about their goals, any rash move could tip them off and lead to terrible consequences. After all, every person in Sumeru City is one of their hostages. I've already tried that, but all the key members of the Academia, even the core of 30 guards, intentionally avoid wearing their Akasha terminals. It seems that from the very beginning, they've been guarding against info leaks from the Akasha. Of course, it could also be because they're wary of me.
Have you already caught the sage's attention?
I'm guessing not yet, but distrusting me would make perfect sense if they've ever paid attention to the urban legends about me. In any case, I probably can't take over their minds directly. No way, that's too risky.
You mean it'd be too easy to get caught?
No, it's not that. We shouldn't involve innocent students in this. A single mistake could completely ruin their lives. Doing that would be ignoring the safety of my people for my own selfish goals. How is that any different from what the sages are doing?
That's a good point. Spoken like the god of Sumeru. Are we really out of ideas? Nahida, you're super smart, so you already have something in mind, right? Don't keep us in suspense. Spill the beans already.
According to a popular theory from the Vahumana Darshan of the Academia, rejecting impractical motions at the beginning of a planning session will give more weight to the actual proposal.
Okay, but aren't you the god of wisdom? You don't have to use that kind of gimmick to make us take your ideas seriously.
Well, I've been thinking that if I can't directly possess the leaders, and if I can't get ordinary people involved, then I should find someone who's already involved, but hasn't decided to side with the sages.
You're saying we should recruit a spy? That does sound like it could work. Oh, before coming back, we met someone named Alhaitham. He seems like he acts alone, and he likes doing stuff behind the Academia's back. They probably aren't in cahoots.
Actually, I already have someone in mind. Do you still remember that female scholar named Setaria?
Setaria. Paimon remembers now. Isn't she the one who's always trailing behind the Grand Sage of the Academia? We ran into her basically every time the Sub-Zero's festival repeated itself. You could even say we're old enemies by now. Paimon still remembers the smug and mean way she always spoke to Nilu.
I've always liked observing all kinds of people, and Setaria has always stood out from the crowd. She was born in the desert and was hailed as their greatest genius. Her academic gifts allowed her special admission into the Academia, and also gave her the opportunity to serve as the sage's assistant.
Oh, Paimon didn't know she was from the desert. She must be pretty special then. Paimon feels like most of the desert dwellers around the city are working as mercenaries.
The name Setaria means star. When she lived in the desert, she shone like the brightest star in the night sky. Later on, she was chosen by the sun. The star was given a place in the daytime sky to complement the sun's dazzling light. Soon after, the star witnessed the sun scorching the earth, which brought forth many disasters. The star began to waver. Instead of staying beside such a sun, wouldn't it be better to return and light up part of the night sky? But in the end, she couldn't give up the radiance of daytime. To cope with her shame, the star buried her guilt and closed her eyes.
From the sound of it, Setaria's just hung up on the research opportunities here. But she doesn't really support the Academia. She still feels guilty about not doing more for the desert, right? She's just running away from her problems.
Indeed. When they are presented with complex moral issues, many people will simply plug their ears and go with the flow until the problem can't be fixed anymore. She's suppressing a lot of guilt, but before she realized it, she had already become the sage's accomplice. She can't deny her part in their schemes anymore. Right. We must somehow make her face her problems again. That way, not only can we get useful intel from her, but she can also use it as an opportunity to redeem herself. From my past observations, Tataria will take a day off from the academia every 10 days to do some shopping in the city. Tomorrow afternoon just happens to be a shopping day for her. That'll be our chance. To prepare, let's go check out some of her favorite spots and have a quick chat with a few of the vendors there. This should be Sataria's favorite fortune-telling spot.
So should we ask the fortune teller about Sataria?
No, I already have enough information on Sataria. The most important thing now is for you to pay attention to the vendor's talking style and key characteristics.
Talking style and key characteristics?
My poor lost lambs. Have you become troubled over your fates? The divine voice of wisdom often echoes between mine ears. If thou be blessed today by the gods, I may be able to show you the way.
Huh? Really? Nahida, you've been whispering things to her?
Shh! My friend here has some doubts regarding her future. Can we get a fortune reading for her?
Of course, of course. In that case... It would seem that Harut and Marut are quite wary of you. Perhaps, at some time in the past, you have somehow offended the gods.
Only mocking the god of Animo, questioning the lord of Geo's financial savviness, and brawling with the god of Electro. Do those count?
Oh, nothing. Go on, pick an aspect for her to divine.
Love prospects? No problem at all. The gods have spoken. The truth shall be revealed. One who is fated to cross your path will appear on... Huh? So many people will fall for you. How could that be? Harut, Marut, did you two spoil my divination? I've never read a fortune so absurd.
Actually, Paimon thinks this is probably the most accurate fortune-telling you've ever done.
I admit that the orientation of today's celestial matrix is suboptimal. As such, there will be no charge.
Is that so? Well, that can't be helped.
If you were to bring some food offerings for Harut and Marut on your next visit, perhaps they could help you reverse the wheels of fate.
Is this another one of Sataria's favorite stalls?
Yep. It belongs to a king. His father helped Sataria a lot when she first moved to Samari City, so she still comes by whenever she has time. When I start talking with him, listen carefully to the details of our conversation.
Ah, dear customers. Would you like to look at some pottery?
We caught wind of your great craftsmanship, so we specifically came to take a look.
Oh, I recognize you. Aren't you Miss Catherine from the Adventurers Guild? Sounds like I'm in for some big business.
Speaking of, where did you learn this trade?
I suppose you could say it all started with my dad. He's a mason by trade, but I picked up an interest in clay while apprenticing for him. After that, I began making pottery by myself in secret, and I simply changed trades when my works turned out well. Although it's a pity that I'm no longer making much use of the knowledge provided to me by the Akasha.
That's nice. You're making a living doing something you love.
So is your father still working as a mason?
Oh no, not anymore. A few years back, he fell from a roof and broke his leg. Since he had already saved enough mora over all these years, he's just enjoying the retired life in Port Ormos nowadays.
I see. We wish him peace and happiness in his retirement. I'll have someone in charge of logistics at the guild come by another day for some goods. We'll leave you to it. Take care now.
No problem. Rest easy, all our goods are sure to meet your every need.
This should be our final stop. Sitaria's always thinking of this restaurant when she's working at the academia. So she always comes by whenever she's out in the city.
Nahida, you've really thought of everything.
It's my duty to protect Samaria's citizens, after all.
Hi there. I feel like I've seen you down by the docks before. Huh? Sorry, I don't quite remember. If I recall, you were having a discussion with someone about shipbuilding at the time.
Oh, that's right! I've always been really interested in feats of marine engineering. After all, I grew up in Liyue Harbor and spent my entire childhood staring at the ships going in and out of the port. I came to Sumeru to study, but failed to make it into the academia due to my lack of talent. But I'm still discussing all kinds of problems with different scholars, and I'm continuing to study and perform research from the restaurant's basement. I'm sure I'll get into the academia after their next round of exams.
What an admirable spirit for learning! Amazing!
Sure, but you'll find hardworking people wherever you go.
So this restaurant has a basement as well? Huh. First I've heard of it.
That's right. It's not usually open to patrons. Most of the time, employees use it for breaks or to hold private events.
I see. Guess that makes sense. Well, good luck with your studies, Miss Chishan.
Thank you so much. As long as I can make it into the academia as an official student, I'll be happy.
So, was that everybody?
Mm-hmm. 3 familiar faces should be enough for Sitaria.
What's the point of all the information we've collected? Nahida, you still haven't told us how you're planning to make Sitaria face her problems.
Sitaria is already used to avoiding her problems, so we must find a way to break through her usual sensibilities. I remember that you mentioned that the Eremites in Port Ormos are all making a fuss about the upcoming resurrection of the Scarlet King. Although it's all just a boatload of nonsense, the fate of her homeland may turn out to be Sitaria's soft spot.
Oh, Paimon gets it now! You want to take advantage of the guilt Sitaria feels about her homeland. Although she knows she should return home to help the people of the desert, all she's done is conspire with the sages. So, how do we set that up?
Well, the Scarlet King is long gone, and Sitaria is also too smart to fall for any simple tricks. If we simply engaged her under the guise of the Scarlet King's believers, she would definitely be wary of us, and we may not get anywhere. But if we were to borrow some of her close acquaintances to talk with her, her reaction would probably be very different.
So, you mean you're going to possess those people we just talked to?
Yep. Possess them through the Akasha. Imply that they've already converted to the faith of the Scarlet King. And then convey our made-up will of the Scarlet King. As long as everything goes smoothly, we'll get through to Sataria for sure. She'll never guess that we had anything to do with it.
Ah, so that's how you're going to use all the info we collected on these people. It's so that you won't slip up and break form. Possessing them will only work if you can manage to pass off as them.
Exactly. So, best of luck with impersonating them.
Huh? Best of luck? But we don't know how to possess anyone.
That's no problem at all. I'll just share all their senses with you once I've possessed them. As long as you're also wearing an Akasha terminal, the effect will basically be as if you've possessed them yourself.
Huh. That is pretty convenient. But why does she have to do this? Can't you do it yourself?
Although I've been observing humans for a while, I've never been good at imitating them.
You're not wrong. It's always been painfully obvious whenever you try to pass as Catherine.
If it was at all possible, I would have preferred to leave these people alone. But seeing how things are now, I probably should just accept it and push on.
Yeah, don't beat yourself up over it. We're only doing this to help everyone, and we'll only be borrowing them for a little while anyway.
Alright, then let's give it a go tomorrow afternoon.
Here she comes! Satori is here!
Let's quietly follow her. Once she starts talking to her acquaintances, we'll find a safe spot to begin possessing them. As for how we'll sway her to our side, I'll leave that to you. I trust you'll know what to say.
I'm starting to feel kind of nervous. Okay, let's go. Looks like they've already started talking. Let's find a hiding spot and get started.
That's right. You really can't force anything when it comes to love. And besides, everyone around me has a very different background and outlook. Are you still listening to me, Nabia?
Oh, of course I'm listening. You were talking about troubles with your love life, right? I heard everything you said.
Okay then. You just seemed a little distracted for a moment there. Strange. Your cats seem pretty worked up. Is something wrong? I always thought they were quiet, happy kitties. Oh, what are their names again? Ah, that's right. They are just little darlings, aren't they? Harut and Marut.
So, which fortune do you want me to read for you today? You must have come for another echo of the divine voice of wisdom.
I'd like to get another reading on my love prospects, but to be perfectly honest with you, I feel like I've been a real mess recently.
A mess?
Well, Could you do a reading on how long it'll take me to finish my current project at work? I really just want to get it over with.
I hear you. No problem at all. The gods will reveal the truth. The gods are asking, Setaria, why haven't you gone home?
Why haven't I gone home? Do the gods really know everything I've been thinking about?
Setaria, why don't you just go home? It's a demand now instead of a question. Oh, the gods seem to be truly upset.
I'm sorry. I know I failed the gods. Please pass on my most sincere apologies and ask for their divine forgiveness. And if I may ask, Nabia, is there a specific god who's speaking to you right now?
What an inconsiderate and naive question. The god who is speaking to me is, of course, the wisest and mightiest of all, the Scarlet King.
The Scarlet King? No wonder he would make such a demand of me. Oh, wait a second. The Scarlet King passed away a long time ago. Even though news of the Scarlet King's resurrection has been spreading like wildfire, it's all just a misinformation campaign from the academia. How can the Scarlet King still exist in real life?
What insolence! I am the Scarlet King's most loyal believer. Do you wish to refute his voice of wisdom?
Oh, no. As a child of the desert, I am only reveling in his power upon learning that his divine glory has touched even this city. I will think very carefully about his demand of me. I'm sorry. I must go now.
Wait!
Whoa! She just ran off in a hurry. She looked pretty upset, too.
Well done. Setaria didn't seem to suspect anything amiss. To have something she's been trying desperately to avoid show up out of nowhere and berate her, that must have shaken her to the core.
Aw, Nahida, it seems like you understand human emotions really well after all.
All I know are some abstract Harava-taught theories. In any case, my time with you has shown a lot of them to be utterly useless. I'm still trying to make sense of everything. Anyway, enough of that. Let's hurry and catch up to Setaria.
He's at Akeem's now, right on cue. Let's get ready to possess him right away!
It's okay. I just got caught up in something. Oh, actually, didn't you ask me to help you look for work? What kind of work were you looking for again? Oh, right. Your old man's craft. How could I forget? Speaking of, how's he doing? Is he feeling any better? Oh, that's good to hear. I've been thinking a lot about him. If I could get some more time off, I'd love to pay him a visit. Actually, while we're talking about him, is he still living in Port Ormos?
Yeah, he's been retired there for a while.
If you could find the time, please write him a letter. Please pass on that recently, faith in the Scarlet King has taken root in Port Ormos and has begun to spread across Sumeru. He has a quick temper and has always been a devout follower of the Dendro Archon. I don't want him to get into a fight with those Scarlet King believers because of a difference in beliefs.
Oh? So who are you siding with in all of this? The Academia or the Scarlet King? I'm so jealous of you. You were born a child of the desert, yet you chose to betray the Scarlet King, and now you spend all your time with those crooks from the Academia.
Akeem, you don't mean you've also become a believer of the Scarlet King?
What's so strange about becoming a believer of the wise Scarlet King? In fact, aren't you the strange one? The one who still can't pick a side?
Can't pick a side? Me?
Whoa! Paimon had no idea you'd be so good at this.
You really zeroed in on the issue and put it right in front of her. It might feel a bit overwhelming for Setaria. But once everything is over, I'll be sure to pay her a visit to her mind and explain everything. Anyway, let's keep going.
Come on! Setaria's already started talking.
So, Shishan, have you noticed anything weird in the city lately? Like, as if someone was trying to preach to you about something?
Oh, right. Speaking of strange things, I celebrated the Sub-Zerus festival so many times that I lost count. That was really weird.
Wait, how could you be aware of that? That should be impossible. Nothing in the report indicated anything like that.
Are you still failing to realize that the Academia's lowly tricks could never deceive all of Sumeru's citizens?
Shishan, don't tell me that you've converted to the Scarlet King as well!
What an absurd question. You make it sound like I should be ashamed for becoming a believer of the Scarlet King. In reality, shouldn't you be the one who is ashamed? You, who worked side by side with the Academia and treated people as nothing more than experimental subjects?
Please, please stop!
Even now, Setaria's still trying to run from her problems.
She can no longer justify everything to herself.
Hey, she's trying to talk to the guards! What should we do?
This is the most important part of all. Quick, get ready.
Mercenary, you're a member of the Corps of 30, correct? Please help me pass a message to the Matcha right away. The situation in the city is getting out of control.
Please, try to remain calm, miss. Tell me what's happening in the city.
Heretics are infiltrating the city, and they've already converted many residents to their side.
Heretics? What kind of heresy are you talking about?
The Scarlet King! Many people I know have suddenly started believing in him, but he's long dead. It's impossible.
Miss Setaria, nothing is impossible.
You know my name?
The Scarlet King is immortal, and all who defy him will one day pay the price. You must face the truth, Setaria. You tread a treacherous path, and the longer you ignore it, the tighter the Academia's grasp on you will become, and the deeper you will be ensnared. Child of the Scarlet King, never forget that the desert that belongs to you lies elsewhere.
What's so strange about becoming a believer of the wise Scarlet King? In fact, aren't you the strange one? The one who still can't pick a side?
What an absurd question. You make it sound like I should be ashamed for becoming a believer of the Scarlet King.
Setaria, why haven't you gone home?
It seems that no matter where I run, I only keep finding more believers of the Scarlet King. I have to say, this is a familiar feeling. I've also been running from my guilt this whole time. Guilt over my part in the Sage's plans, and from ignoring the letters from the children of my homeland. But no matter how much I may try to ignore or get rid of it, my guilt always comes back.
You won't necessarily lose your research opportunities by facing the truth. Besides, did you really want to conduct your research while carrying such heavy feelings of guilt?
How do you know me so well? Are you truly just a believer of the Scarlet King? Or are you the god himself?
That's not important. The important thing is to pass judgment on the Academia and its sages, and to correct their mistakes. If you could provide some assistance in this matter, perhaps it could serve as a form of atonement.
I've actually never believed in the gods, but I've always believed in serendipity. Your appearance must be a fated opportunity for me to get out of this wretched situation. Please tell me, what can I do for you?
How much do you know about the Sage's current activities?
I was just one of the designers for the massed dream harvest scheme, which is what happened around the Sub-Zeru's festival. But I know very little about the full scope of the overall project. I'd assume that only staff with the highest clearance would have access to those confidential documents. I've just been working to meet the Grand Sage's specified requirements. However, there's something that's been really bothering me. I heard that a scholar who was previously expelled has returned to the city, and even the sages are still quite wary of him.
To fight against the academia, we will need to figure out the nature and the purpose of their work. Is there a way for us to get access to the confidential documents you mentioned?
It should be possible if we're willing to take some risks. After all, I'm an assistant to the Grand Sage, and I've been working on many tasks outside of the project. One thing, though, I won't be able to transfer the documents to you through the Akasha once I get my hands on them. The sages have always closely monitored all activities within the Akasha. Let me see. Let's use the most primitive method. Send someone to pick up the documents tomorrow evening at the Academia entrance.
The Academia entrance. Wouldn't that be too conspicuous?
Don't worry about that. I assure you, this won't be a trap. I'm only suggesting this location because it'll draw more scrutiny for me to leave the Academia again. It'll be safest for me to distract the guards long enough to hand you the documents.
All right, I trust you.
So, if I were to successfully complete this task, would it mean I've atoned for my wrongdoings?
That'll depend on the judgment of the Dendro Archon.
The Dendro Archon. That's right. Her people are the ones we have endangered. As the God of Wisdom, she's also the one responsible for judging and guiding the scholars. Maybe it's time for me to find a god to believe in.
Just as Nahida predicted, we've managed to bring Sataria to our side!
The Traveler's execution was ingenious. She's the one who deserves all the praise. Well, now that we've made plans to meet again tomorrow evening, all we can do is pray for Sataria's mission to go off without a hitch.
Pray? But if we're going to pray to the gods, aren't we just praying to you? God of Wisdom and Guardian of the Scholars?
No. The truth is the true Guardian of Scholars. I've always believed that. Anyway, let's meet again tomorrow evening at the Adventurers Guild.